Hello, everyone. It's Jamie Palmer here, and I am super excited to share with you today what I've learned from working from home for 34,340 hours. Yes, for those of you who are wondering, I have been working from home for the past 16 and a half years. Okay, I know that's crazy to think about, but I think it's something that is really important to talk about because we're all working from home right now. And some of us have kids at home, and our whole entire world kind of like got shuffled upside down, except for those people who are working from home and now everybody's invading their space. Because I'm great at working from home, but it's like slightly more challenging now that everybody's like all up in my business. And don't get me wrong, I don't take this lightly or anything that's going on, but I have to have some fun with this because, you know, I just do. That's who I am as a person. So I thought I would share with you guys some ninja tips about working from home. Questions, suggestions, comments, anything that you guys need, you can just drop them in the comment section and I will be sure to answer each and every one of them. So the first and most important thing that I truly believe when working from home is important to do is to set a work schedule. Now, what does that mean? That means that you should have specific times that you are working and specific times when you are not. Now, I've made a lot of mistakes in my 16 and a half years when it comes to working from home. And one of those was not setting work hours. Because here's the deal, guys. Work is always going to be there. There's always going to be something to do. There's always going to be something on the to-do list that you didn't finish. And so when you can say, here's my work hours, you can set a start and end time for your day. And it really helps you with your sanity because my second ninja tip is to create a dedicated workspace. Now, what exactly does that mean? So as you can see behind me, this is my office, okay? And prior to moving into the house that I'm in, that I've been at for, 4 or 5 years now, I did not have a dedicated office and I did not necessarily have a dedicated workspace. I would work from the couch, or I would work from, my bedroom, or I'd work from the kitchen table. And oftentimes what would happen is that it wouldn't be clear to the people that were around me, especially my children, when I was working and when I wasn't. And so when you have a dedicated workspace, it becomes really, really freaking clear that, hey, I am working, okay? And having that space, which I know can probably be challenging for some of us. I don't live in a gigantic house. We actually chose to take one of the bedrooms and have my boys share a bedroom simply so that I could have a space to work. Like currently, my husband has a desk set up in the dining room, but it is a place where he knows he can work. It is great for your brain to know that when you are sitting at this place, hey, guess what? We're working. And I think that that's something that's really, really important to note, because when you have that workspace and you have that set work schedule, you can kind of get yourself geared up to actually go to work, even though you might only have to take 10 or 12 steps to get there. The other thing that I really encourage you to do is to get dressed. And it doesn't have to be like in a suit and tie or anything super fancy, but I am a huge fan, especially on my call days, which I do on Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll talk about that later on, is to get dressed. And part of the reason why I get dressed is because it preps me for working, okay? And what do I mean for that? When I go and I put on my typical work uniform, I am signaling to my brain, hey, we're gonna work. And so that little bit of difference makes a lot of help, especially if you're not used to working from home. Now, don't get me wrong, I love working in my athleisure as much as the next person. And oftentimes I'll put on a fancy top and just have black leggings on the bottom. Totally cool with that. But I'm just telling you, make sure that you try and figure out what your work uniform is and make it different than what you'd wear just to lounge around the house. It will make a huge difference in your mindset, in the way in which your body and brain show up to work. So ninja tip number 4, organize and prioritize your day. Now, what does this mean? So I love the Best Self Planner. Everybody's got a planner that they use. Some people just use Google Calendar. What I actually want to stress here is, what is the one thing you're going to accomplish each day? We entrepreneurs, especially the creative ones, we get this big, huge, long list of things that we want to do each and every day. And then we're disappointed at the end of the day when we didn't accomplish it. Now, I don't know about you, I am in camp family when it comes to this whole virus thing. And so my entire family's at home, including my husband who's working from home. So I've actually had to lower my expectations around what I can actually accomplish each and every day. And so for me, I organize and prioritize my day. And then I am now taking it one step further and syncing up with my husband to say, okay, here's what I have going on today. What do you have going on today? We've cross-referenced our schedules so we know when each of us have calls so we can cover the kids, and we're just really making sure we're communicating. But I'm also making sure for me and my business, I'm prioritizing just one thing each and every day, whatever that is. Ninja tip number 5 from working from home, limit distractions. Okay, it can be really easy to go into your workspace and just aimlessly scroll through social media. And that is a complete waste of your work time. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to, set a timer if you do choose to scroll on social media. Like, eliminate whatever those distractions are. So don't keep your email open. Don't keep Facebook open. Really just focus on what you're doing while you're at work. And I think that you will find that when you sit there and focus, the task won't take as long. I always say work expands to time allowed. So that's where your organization and prioritization and like daily planning come into play, because when you are sitting there and you're like, okay, so I have 5 hours to work for today. I have to create an email for my list. I have to record a YouTube video and I have to do X, Y, and Z. Well, recording a YouTube video could take you all day if you allowed it to. So I always recommend to time block and say, oh, I am only working for X amount of time on this particular project. And you would be surprised that when you actually start to do that, you will actually get that project done in that specified amount of time. But that comes with the caveat that you also have to limit the distractions, because when you have tons of distractions, you're just not going to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish because you're going to be distracted. So whatever you need to do, shut off the phone, shut off the notifications, turn off Facebook, turn off the email. But if you are working, work. And if you are not working, don't work. And guys, trust me, this has not been without lots and lots of failures, okay? So nobody is expecting perfection about this when working from home. But what I really want to encourage you to do is, when you are working, truly focus on that work so that, 2, 3, 4 o'clock comes around, you can absolutely unplug and be with your kiddos. So, and for those of you who are just joining us, don't hesitate to drop any questions you have around working from home and being successful in working from home. And I'm going to answer any questions or comments that anybody has, any ninja tips that they need answered, anything that they need. Just don't hesitate to drop those questions in and I will be sure to answer them. So ninja tip number 6, if you are working for an extended period of time, and by extended period of time, I mean, 4+ hours, I highly recommend you put in periodic breaks. So whether that's 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the amount of time, I highly recommend you work those breaks into your schedule. So go for a walk, stand up, stretch, go grab a coffee, whatever that might be, just go ahead and give yourself permission to do that in the middle of the day. I often will find that a 15-20 minute walk in the middle of the day makes me super refreshed to come through and power through the second half of the day. So work in those breaks, especially if your job or your role or your business requires you to be at a desk. Like mine, especially on my call days, I am at this desk all day long. And it is really hard to sit here all day long. Like, our bodies are not meant to do that. So I highly encourage you to get up, move your body, throw on some music, have a dance party, but work that into your day. Even if it's just for 2 minutes, it will be a game changer for you. All right, ninja tip number 7. Now, this is a hard one, at least for me, especially since I have what I call the Post-it Bandit, but keep your workspace clean. So I have the Post-it Bandit. He comes in and undoes legitimately every single Post-it stack that I have in my office, and that's my little toddler, Easton. But keep your workspace clean, because when you can keep your workspace clean or clean your workspace up at the end of the day, I know for me, I kind of like explode everywhere as I am working. And so at the end of every day, before I wrap up for the day, I kind of just tidy up so that when I come into the office and come into my work zone the next day, it's clean, it's organized, and I can just sit down and get right to work and get focused. Because those little things that are out of place or unorganized, or, you know, you kind of left a bunch of stuff unfinished at the end of the day, you're going to come in and you're going to want to fix all of that or clean all of that up. And that will distract you from actually staying focused and getting stuff done. And so my 8th and final ninja tip is to block your days. So what exactly does that mean, to block your days? I did not practice this for a very long time. I chose to allow my customers and clients to pick what days and times we would be doing each and everything. I was driving myself bananas, okay? So I would go from meeting with a client to having a prospecting call to trying to write some content to, you know, whatever. It was like a vicious, miserable cycle that I got absolutely nothing done. So if you are somebody who is either new to working from home or you're a veteran working from home type person, you have not implemented this in your business, you will be like, wowza, Jamie, because your productivity is going to skyrocket when you do this. So I block my days, and you don't have to do a full day at a time if you don't want, but I would recommend doing at least 4 hours. So what do I mean by block your days? So for me, Tuesdays and Thursdays are my call days. I take as many, if not all, my calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? And part of the reason why I do this is because it's very easy for me from a mindset perspective to know when I go into Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to be on video calls all day. And part of the reason why I encourage people to do this is because then it gives you very big, large chunks of time to actually work on your business. And oftentimes I see so many people who are so in the thick of their business that they never work on the business, and therefore the business never really moves forward. And all of those things that they want to do, like write a book or launch a course or, you know, whatever it is, never gets done because they never have the time to work on it, because they're so busy being run by their schedule. And then they're exhausted too, because they're constantly trying to switch gears between what they're doing and how they're doing it. And it's just a disaster. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend you block your days. So for me, Monday is an internal day. I will also take sales calls on a Monday. And then I also generally try to write content on Mondays. Wednesdays for me are my day where I record all my YouTubes. I record all my content for my group program. I record and just work on big projects in that day. So generally in the morning, I record my YouTubes for the next couple of weeks. And then the afternoon, I will write or, you know, whatever it is. And so I share this with you guys because when I switched my schedule like this, it made a huge difference for me. And for those of you who are thinking, well, James, I just don't think I can do that with my clients, and, you know, you're feeling lots of resistance around that, what I encourage you to do is to slow down and think about how can you do this on a smaller scale. So maybe it's just time blocking 4 hours one day a week, right? And then slowly doing 2 days a week, and whatever that looks like for you, whatever your comfort level is when it comes to that. But I'm telling you, your productivity is going to increase exponentially when you aren't constantly switching gears between tasks and stuff that you have to accomplish. And so I highly recommend block your time, block your days, and watch your productivity skyrocket, because when you are working from home, it is something that you have to be super duper disciplined about. And many times people really, really struggle with being very self-disciplined. And for me, I've worked through so many ups and downs and roller coasters of working for myself in the 16 and a half years that I've been doing it. And you know, I would say I am not perfect. I still have days where I sit downstairs on my couch and I do my work, but that's okay. So long as, 80-90% of the time you are working through this cadence and these ninja tips we talked about here today. So I super appreciate each of you for being here. If anybody has any questions or comments, don't hesitate to drop them below. And I hope you all have a super fantastic day.